So Russia sends a new threat to the West as NATO looks to send Patriot missiles to Ukraine as quick as possible. And more than that, top Putin ally Dmitry Medvedev saying, quote, "The statements of Western politicians on this topic are complete nonsense. We need to act accordingly to respond in full and, if necessary, launch preemptive strikes." Meanwhile, President Trump and Zelensky are hashing out a mega deal where the U.S. would buy Ukrainian drones in exchange for Kyiv buying a swath of American weapons. I'm loving it. Here to discuss this, retired four-star general, Fox News senior strategic analyst, chairman of the Institute to Study of War, General Jack Keane. General, so this is a great deal, and in many ways, Ukrainians are leading the world in drone technology, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, there's just no doubt about it. I mean, last year, in their own defense industrial base, they produced over 2 million drones. This year, it's somewhere in the neighborhood to 4 to 5 million drones, and they're all different types, from the first-person vehicles, very small drones, killer drones, to much larger drones that can fly hundreds of miles. And they have intellectual property and technology there that's going to be very important to us. You know, when you're at war, fighting for your survival, it has a tendency to focus the mind. And that is what has happened here. Their ingenuity, their imagination, their creativity has done this. Some of this just literally started in people's garages, trying to develop technology, and it's blossomed into an industry all of its own. And
right.
Russia is doing much the same. So drone warfare is dominating on the battlefield. A balance to that will be coming. Counter drones capability is being developed. Some of it's being applied now. It's microwaves to interfere, jamming, and eventually laser technology would likely to be the thing that would be most prevalent. But right now, drones dominate on a battlefield.
So you said
it's kind of like when the tank first came to the battlefield, it dominated, and then anti-tank missiles came and created something of a balance.
So you said there's too much emphasis in some ways on sanctions. The thing that gets Putin focused is what's happening on the battlefield. And with that, can you tell us what is flowing now into Ukraine? Is it more than Patriots?
Well, remember, there was a pause on the approved military drawdown that's been flowing, and that pause has been removed by the president. He said he was very clear, he had nothing to do with the pause. So those weapons are flowing. And this week, the 155 ammunition, a whole trainload of it, is flowing. HIMARS, United States long-range offensive missiles. Ukrainians are using them defensively to defend their country, obviously. And also PAC-3 missiles, which is the missile system for the Patriots. Right. But what is coming as part of the Trump deal is that we will provide Patriot missile batteries to European nations who will purchase them and then provide them to Ukraine. The 5 of these batteries are supposed to go to Switzerland. I believe that's going to be delayed now, and they will go to another country that is going to provide them to Ukraine. So that is a huge step. And Putin pays specific attention to battlefield effects. I mean, he wants to wear down the Ukrainians so that concessions are forced on Zelensky to make with Putin, and also wear down the United States stick-to-itiveness here, frustrate the president, which he accomplished, but the president has doubled down on him as opposed to walking away is what Putin wanted.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of where we are. We're in a much better place than what we were a week ago.
President adapting to real things on the battlefield. He should be giving you tremendous credit. Real quick, when it comes to Iran and snapback sanctions, they're kind of warning the world, don't snap back those sanctions to that pre-Iranian deal cut under Barack Obama. But that's where we're heading now, because they're not coming to the table on their nuclear program.
Yeah, this is one of the good things that was in the nuclear deal, the so-called JCPOA, from 2015, and that is that any of the signatories to the deal, this is China, Russia, United States, France, and Germany, can initiate snapback sanctions in the UN, don't need a vote if Iran violates the agreement. They have indeed violated the agreement. The United States is no longer a part of the JCPOA. They pulled out. China and Russia obviously is going to take no adverse action against Iran. But any one of those other three countries, Germany, France, and Britain, can initiate snapback sanctions. They have agreed to do that by the end of August. Either one of them or all three of them will do that in an agreement that Secretary of State Rubio fats with them. So we're on a good path here to not only eventually get increased sanctions from the United States, but get increased sanctions from the UN. This is going to get Iran's attention. What do we want instead of those sanctions?
Gotcha.
Come to the table on a nuclear deal, dismantle what is ever left of your program, and commit to no enrichment, and commit to stop funding proxies in the region, and stop supporting terrorism in the region as well.
Addressing all the world's problems. General Jack Keane, thanks so much for the update. Appreciate it.
Yeah, great talking to you. Have a wonderful weekend, you and the team.
You too.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.